Hello everyone and welcome to game 2 in a series between MMA versus Violet. This is going to be on the ESL version of Entombed Valley. I don't know if they force cross spawns on... Oh, it is going to be cross only. Thank you for Apollo for letting me know that. This is actually one of the maps where I don't think you actually need forced cross spawns. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the map position. We have Violet spawning on the bottom left side here. Meanwhile, we have MMA spawning on the top right. Now, the reason why I say you don't need forced cross spawns as you do on Antigua Shipyard is the map isn't a spiral mirror, it is actually a vertical and horizontal mirror. So if you are spawning on the same north and south side, the positions are equally beneficial and not beneficial all at the same time, meaning that your third base expands directly into your opponent's third base as well. So we'll see what's going to happen here as the game does get underway. Off over here is a high ground expansion, and there are some destructible rocks. I don't think this will come into play just because this is cross spawn as a drone now makes its way across the center. Now, in Entombed Valley, you can see that there are destructible rocks here. There is a rather wide choke point here. So with that rather wide choke point, it is a little bit difficult to wall off, but if you can establish this choke point here, then you can easily run up on two bases rather quickly. We'll see what MMA is going to do as MMA is going into that barracks, and he is not going for gas, interestingly enough. Violet going to come around, take a look, and see that there is no gas being established, quickly placing down a hatchery of his own in response, and we'll see whether or not Violet perhaps tries to go for a third base. The reasoning behind this is that most of the time, Terran players, if they are going gasless opening, at least in high-level play, are going for a quick, fast expansion. And if they are going for a quick, fast expansion, Zerg players want to make sure that they can still out-drone their opponent. We'll see what's going to be happening here. Violet may decide to go for a macro hatch on this map, as the third base is going to be a little bit difficult to defend. The destructible rocks are here up on the high ground. There is 3 armor on them, making them a little bit difficult to take down for just Zerglings alone. And MMA, as we can see, doesn't have any hidden barracks on the map. Hatchery will be completed here in just a second. We'll see one Marine now make its way out across. Drones now already making their way in to try to get some damage onto that SCV. And now it is going to be the drones versus SCV and Marine game trying to stop a bunker from being placed down. This is always one of those things where a lot of Terran players generally like to harass with this one Marine, one SCV, as it stops a lot of mining. This one drone now is able to go ahead and mine away, and MMA really didn't get that much damage dealt. SCV now down to 10 hit points. Marines are now perhaps going to get stuck midfield. The SCV now down to 5 hit points here. Here we go. The Zerglings are now chasing after the Marines, and ooh, the 2 Marines getting off 1 kill here, but this is not looking good as the Zerglings are going to be able to finish off these Marines. More Marines now coming in. 1 Marine does go down. SCV goes down, and the early battle, I believe, will go to Violet as Violet, yes, Violet does come out slightly ahead as we now see Zerglings run off to the north. There is a bunker. Oh, why was it? Oh my gosh, what was that? It was a salvaged bunker, and now it needs to be rebuilt. That's the fastest way I've ever seen a Terran player waste 25 resources, especially after the bunker was done, to rebuild it. We'll see what's going to happen here. Supply depot. It looked like that Marine. Yeah, the Marines do want to finish off the supply depot here. Orbital command already being upgraded. No macro hatch coming in from Violet. So he's not going to really get that economic boost that he needs. 29 drones versus 23 SCVs. We are now transitioning into Hellions. We should be getting perhaps a spine crawler on the front of the ramp here as well. Perhaps an evolution chamber to make that choke point a little bit narrower and making it a little bit more difficult for units to actually get up that ramp. And we'll see what will be happening as an Overlord now positions itself to gain a little bit more sight, and we once again see MMA going into a very fast third base. Violet sees this. MMA doesn't see it just quite yet, and it looks like the Overlord will come in across the map. Starport, so a 1-1-1 build coupled with 3 command centers, or essentially 3 orbital commands. This is looking rather strange. It looks like the starport will complete before the command center, and for a long while, MMA may actually have more base buildings than he actually has, completed base buildings than he has completed production buildings. Starport now looking to land, and we'll see what's going to happen here. And oh, that was rather interesting. This is really interesting. If you saw what happened, Violet saw that the starport, saw the barracks lift off, and then he is getting into the head of Violet, thinking, okay, I need to expect Banshees, but instead he's gonna go ahead and research Stim and go into Vikings. And we'll see if he responds to that, if he gets a lot of Spore Crawlers instead. He's already teching the tier 2 so he can get into Overseers. He does have a number of queens. One queen down over here, one queen one queen at the ramp. Needs a queen to take care of this hatchery here, as the Hellions are now trying to test that front door, and a lot of creep tumors are still being spread across the map. This one Hellion not going to be able to destroy that creep tumor, as these Hellions are simply sitting on the far side. And now we see reactored into barracks, a tech lab now being built by the starport, so perhaps a little bit delayed, but now going into very heavy barracks production. Not quite sure what to expect if it's heavy barracks with a starport with a tech lab. I would have normally thought that he would try to go for a reactor and get some medevacs if he's gonna go this heavy into bioplay. Hellions cleaning up some of the Zerglings in the center portion. We are going into a Spire now. The Spire perhaps used to counter any airplay. We are going to have a swap of the tech lab, and now a factory going to be built down over here. And it looks like this is just going to be massive barracks play. And yes, we are going to see the lift off the barracks here and here. And MMA just going for a lot of bio. He's just going to go straight bio. He's now building one more reactor. If he swaps this, I would be kind of confused as why doesn't MMA just... Oh, he's training up a medevac now. So he's going to train up a medevac and then perhaps swap it with the factory and the reactor. But you see 6 barracks already up and running for MMA. And I gotta say, MMA's macro is simply amazing right now. Zerglings looking to finish off this set of destructible rocks. Harvester count 54 to 52. You see this additional orbital command just helping out so much. Level 1 weapons and armor upgrades already being started. At the 46-second mark, Zerglings going after the Hellions, and the Zerglings all being forced to retreat once more. Perhaps they're going to get a surround, getting a surround on some of those Hellions, but the Hellions able to drive and, I guess, draft behind each other and make sure no Zerglings got in front of them. You see a 4th base now being established by Violet. Violet knows that he cannot allow his opponent to stay up on bases for far too long. MMA does have an additional orbital command that he can take at any time, and it looks like that time will be now, as he's already cleared out the destructible rocks. And now you see MMA building a lot of supply depots all at the same time. He is currently supply blocked, but this will definitely help him out, as we now see a Viking hunting for overlords. No overlords though, as we now see Mutalisk coming in, and the Mutalisk going after the SCV. One SCV does get taken down, missile turret gets destroyed, and here we go. Marines are now trying to make their way over. Is it gonna be enough? No, the Marines are unable to get back up onto the high ground. A reactor gonna get destroyed here, and it will slow down the key medevacs from being trained. More Marines now making their way in. The Marines very nicely played by MMA, making sure that the Mutalists were forced to retreat. But now in comes some Hellions. No defense here whatsoever, as the Zerglings getting toasted, and now even more drones getting toasted. Zerglings now coming in to clean up and surround these units, as we now see a large bio force making its way out. This is purely Marines, and mass Marines it definitely is. We need to see Banelings, and lots of them. No Baneling production as of yet, as we see another drop happening over here. So a drop happening here. It looks like the Queen going to be able to take down the medevac. The medevac does go down. Queen now joining in on the fight. Does have level 1 armor, but in comes a large bio attack force. Banelings are getting detonated before they're able to make their way over, and the last Baneling has been destroyed. 9 more Banelings now being added. The Spine Crawler has gone down. Marines are upgraded 1-1. A very nice timing, as the Zerglings now trying to split down and do a very strong attack here. The Marines desperately trying to run away. Banelings detonating on the targets. as MMA, the majority of this attack force is now back at home, or the majority of the food is now back at home here, and all of those medevacs are simply going to retreat. Harvester count 65 to 68. Only 6 workers killed. Not too many workers lost in that engagement, as the Mutalisks are now hunting for perhaps some of those units here. The Marines, may be able to come across. Going to take down 1 Marine there, as the Marines now once again try to hold the center. The Marines are now going to be upgraded 2-2 in about another minute or so, as those Mutalisks are looking to actually deal more and more damage. Medevac going to be going in for another drop. You see a sea of Overlords here. The Overlord's pretty much going to be an early warning system on this medevac, but that medevac is going to be able to deal at least some damage. We see now the Marines and the siege tanks making their way off. This is going to be attack at the second base and the third base, the natural, and the Banelings are now simply running across the map. This is not good. The units are out of position. The Marines are now going to be dropping inside the main base. There is nothing inside the main base. Zerglings and Banelings now trying to find their target. Siege tanks need to blast apart all of the Banelings. They are not going to find the targets there, as a Queen may get taken down. Drop now back in the main base. Drones now all retreating, as the medevacs are able to retreat, and this is unfortunate, as now MMA knows about this expansion here. It will get cleaned up very nicely by MMA, as the attack, Mutalisks now making their way over. Are they going to be able to take down the medevac? A full medevac now destroyed, and MMA losing a little bit of ground, but Violet going to be losing his third base, as we already see MMA finishing off another command center here. New command center, maybe upgrading to an orbital command level, or no planetary fortress, it looks as though. And now level 1 weapons upgrade on the siege tanks. A new command center now being established, more missile turrets being built, and we'll see what these command centers are able to do. Mutalisks now making their way across the center portion of the map, but a Thor, as slow as it is, with that very long range, could get a lot of damage here. Here we go, 1 round of javelin missiles destroying some of those units, but now in come the Zerglings. The siege tanks need the siege. Will they be able to get it? 1 siege tank does go down, a 2nd siege tank goes down, a 3rd siege tank goes down, as well as the Banelings kind of find their target. Thor now making their way across the center. The Marines are upgraded 2-2, will be 3-3 or 3-2 in just a moment. The level 2 armor upgrades have not been stopped or started. Marines now looking to do another drop here, and the medevac finding the target, and now may be able to do another drop inside the main base. Yes, it is another drop inside the main base. Zerglings are here, unable to reach their target at all, as the Marines are going straight after that spawning pool. Zerglings and Marines, all of these Marines now need to back off. There's not a lot of medevacs in this group, and the destructible rocks have still not been taken down. Mutalisks now looking to do this yin-yang, trying to attack when he is getting attacked. Zerglings and Banelings may be able to hit some of those Marines there. The Marines now desperately trying to run away. It looks as though some of those Marines will still survive, as the Zerglings are now chasing apart many and many of those Marines. What's going to happen here as the siege tanks now join in on the fight, as the Marines ran back to the siege tanks for cover. Violet now down to 75 food compared to MMA's 179, and there is the GG. So Violet losing game 2 in this best of 3 series, and Violet losing to MMA. MMA taking 2 very strong games. MMA won, I gotta say, he won the games about 70% of his macro. His macro was simply something to behold. In game 1, Violet had tried to go in for a counterattack, but MMA had 2 siege tanks, even target fired a lot of the Banelings were all destroyed. And yeah, MMA was simply a sight to behold in this game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this best of 3 series.